What's up everyone, and welcome back yet again for more Reddit stories about entitled people, insane people, and all that kind of stuff. So be sure to subscribe for more Reddit content, and let's get into today's stories. Harass my 18-year-old sister? Prepare to lose your job. This happened over 6 years ago, so I'm a little fuzzy on all of the details, but it is one of my proudest moments. I am 8 years older than my sister, and although we didn't live in the same town anymore, by the time she graduated high school, I was so excited for her to attend university because she applied for the same program as I did, and knowing her, she was gonna freaking kill it in a way I never could. I am shy, awkward, and overall non-confrontational. She is fierce, charming, and never backs down from a fight. Our brother in the middle is a perfect mix between these traits. When she told me she was traveling down south for a conference related to a potential major, I was really excited for her. This conference also had a career fair, and it was going to be the first one she'd attended. I gave her some advice on how to present herself. She had her resumes and some companies in mind, and I knew she was going to do great. Cue to the day after, and I get a call from her in distress. So she wasn't sure how a certain networking interaction went and wanted to ask me what I thought. There was a man from a certain company who took great interest in her resume. A freshman. Not unheard of, but at this point she had very little experience. So he pulled her aside and wanted to talk to her further. He asked her which hotel she was staying at. She got nervous and said he should take her to dinner that evening. At the same time, this man, who she said looked older than our dad, reached out and stroked a strand of her hair. At this point, she started crying, and I saw red. I asked her for this man's name and the company he worked for, and told her to avoid that table and company at all costs. I told her she did nothing wrong and he was being extremely inappropriate. I told her to keep a buddy with her while she was still down there, and it was alright. She told me she was scared about talking to other companies in the future. How does she know if they really want her as an employee or if someone is going to be creepy? Also, as this man had her resume, apparently he'd texted that he was in front of her hotel, and she avoided responding because she was scared. Because of this, she was scared to hand out her resume. I didn't think it was possible for me to be more enraged than I already was. She was 18, first career fair. Already, she was terrified of career fairs because of this sleazy old fart. Hell no, not my freaking sister. The world will not take her shine. I told her that I would take care of it and hung up. I immediately told my boss that I'd need to take the first half of the day for a personal matter. First, I looked up this man's LinkedIn so I could put a face to the rage and disgust I felt. Then I contacted my own company's HR and asked what the procedure would be if an employee of ours engaged in behavior like this while on company time. She had wonderful advice and urged me to contact this man's company's HR department as well. So I did. I left a detailed email with what had happened, their employee's name, and the location of the conference and career fair where he'd been representing their company. I left my name and number as well in case they wanted to know any more details, and I recall getting a call from their HR department soon afterward, telling me they were taking this seriously and were going to investigate. The woman sounded very sympathetic. She told me that this man was someone that had been with the company for a while and had actually retired, so now he was mainly focused on recruitment for the company, somewhat on a consultant level. I want to say by early afternoon, I received an email that this man had been let go from the company completely, and they thanked me for my report. The speed at which this all happened lends me to believe this was not the first time. Either that or his behavior was such a liability, sending a creep to recruitment, that it was easy to just let him go. Let me tell you, that was the most fulfilling cackle I had ever cackled in all my days. I called my sister up and told her the news, and she was amazed. She thanked me, and we talked a little more about what to look out for when networking. That being pulled aside generally is a good thing, but it sucks that this person took advantage of that. I told her not to take this horrible experience as normal, because it was not, and emphasized she did nothing wrong. The good news is, 6 years later she has her bachelor's and master's degree, and has a stacked lineup of intern/co-op experience, think mix of startups and big-name industries, and is currently rocking her career at a meaningful startup in her field. I am still shy, awkward, and relatively non-confrontational, but if you come for my siblings, I go for blood. Sister-in-law manages to avoid jail time after multiple grand larcenies. To begin with, my sister-in-law has 4 children, 12 female, 10 male, 7 female, and 5 female. In May of 2022, my sister-in-law took credit cards from her grandparents and spent a total of $21,000 over the course of 4 months. She was ordered to pay $8,000 in restitution. She managed to worm her way out of paying the entire balance by claiming she wasn't responsible for all of the charges. A lot were for gas, food deliveries, fast food, etc. In October 2022, I received a Discover card with a $15,000 credit limit in the mail that I did not apply for. There was also a PayPal credit card account open in my name. I was able to close them without incident, but when I contacted the credit bureau's sister-in-law's address was linked to those credit inquiries. In November 2022, we hosted Thanksgiving, but I refused to allow sister-in-law into my home. My husband has a trucking business, and there are personal assets and business assets to protect, and I remain convinced she has already committed identity theft against me personally. As a result, sister-in-law refused to allow her children to spend Thanksgiving with extended family. Unfortunately, it was the grandfather's last Thanksgiving. He passed away the following month. 2023 was relatively quiet, as sister-in-law only committed acts of theft and fraud with several jobs, and not within the family. Last month, however, it was discovered that the grandmother's savings account was nearly cleaned out, and sister-in-law had written and cashed a check for $5,000 to herself from their checking account. Again, she had taken credit and debit cards linked to these accounts. She was even paying her restitution payments from these accounts. Debit and credit charges amounted to a total of $41,000. This time she was arrested and is out on bail until her next court appearance on Wednesday. Not sure who paid bail, but I assume it was brother-in-law. Brother-in-law recently brought me a bundle of junk mail they received at their most recent address, in a town I have never lived in. I'm certain this is because of her inquiry history, but brother-in-law doesn't want to hear it. In order to maintain a relationship with her grandchildren, mother-in-law has continued to assist her with financial needs, footing her bills and giving her gas money, etc. Sister-in-law and more recently brother-in-law remain unwelcome at her house, but we still routinely spend time with her children. Crazy lady on the no-fly list. Current events of this freakout are from today during a Southwest flight from Las Vegas to Nashville that landed about 2 hours ago. So I board position A58 at the ass end of the A's. As I board, I'm looking for a seat towards the front of the plane and a window. About 10 rows in, there is a single older woman with gray hair in late 60s on the aisle. I ask if the window seat is free and if I, 50s male, can sit there. She says yes and gets up and lets me sit at the window. As I finish getting unpacked for the flight in the window seat, an announcement comes on that the flight is really empty, and anyone can move to the back and get an aisle row of 3 seats for themselves. This woman turns to me and says, "You should move." I reply that I don't like to wait to get off the plane and I'm fine where I am, thanks. The lady then tells me she paid a lot more than me for her ticket, so I should move. I ask her if this means she wants me to move because she wants me to feel sorry for her, because she's so dumb that she paid so much more for essentially the same seat as me, because Southwest is open seating. I tell her there is no problem here. There is an open seat between us and I won't get up during the flight, which I didn't. If she wants a full row, she's welcome to move, as I tell her again that Southwest is open seating. The lady tells me to F off and moves to the back of the plane. How I wish it ended there. The couple in the row ahead of me apologized to me for having to deal with a psycho lady who was just absolutely crazy out of line. Fast forward to the end of the flight. We're about to land and the lady comes back, doesn't say a word, and sits back in her aisle seat. I'm thinking, okay, that's smart. You showed me. You got your whole aisle in the back and then moved back to the front of the plane to deboard even before me. Well played. Nope. Apparently she was raging the entire flight in the back of the plane and decided she wanted to teach me a lesson. As passengers are deboarding, she won't move and won't let me out and is just waving people past us. When I ask her to please move, she tells me, "Karma is a bitch." I explain to her that she is preventing me from leaving and I feel trapped by her. She laughs. I explain that I know my rights and explain that I will count to 3, then I will move her because she is illegally detaining me. She laughs again and screams about calling the police if I touch her. I count to 3 and put my hands on her shoulders and roughly push her across the aisle and into a seat across the aisle. I then scramble to deplane. During the physical altercation, the nice couple tried to tell the flight attendant what was happening, while the crazy lady was physically blocking me. But I got myself out of the situation pretty quickly and made it off the plane fast. How I wish it ended there. This lady proceeded to scream, curse, and rage at me the entire walk from the gate to baggage claim, periodically pushing me. The couple is filming the entire journey of this, and the man of the couple tells her she is way out of line and filming her in an effort to get her to just stop. The lady then takes a swing and punches the guy. Then all the airport police show up, around 10-ish. Thank God for the couple and their video. The police quickly split us into 3 groups, and we all tell our story separately and the police watch the video. The police asked me if I want to press charges, and I declined, but I also said that I do want her on a no-fly list, and would testify to that if required. I'm headed back to BNA tomorrow to request the video of all her harassment of me from the plane until the cops showed up, because pics and video or it didn't happen. I work physical security and we walked past a ton of cameras. F*** her. Former cop neighbor stole my packages to teach me to bring them inside before someone steals them. I live in a decent neighborhood. I'm friendly, but not overly so, with all my neighbors. I say hi, chat for a minute, and laugh at their jokes, but mostly I keep to myself. I also work from home and my job is intense, as I switch careers and there's a steep learning curve. The guy 2 houses down is a retired cop who is pretty forward, and generally makes those types of jokes that come off like a jab. He was a career cop in the area and definitely has buddies on the force still, so I'm not about to try to make an enemy here, but this was the last straw. When something is wrong, he resorts to cop knocking on my door, as I call it. He sees my car is there and my lights are on, so obviously I'm ignoring him by not answering the door. He knocks like it's an emergency, which the first few times I thought it was. He also refuses to speak through the Ring camera. I was on a pitch call a few weeks ago and he knocked for 10 minutes. Thank God for noise-blocking mics. One of the times was to tell me he took my cans in for me, since I was the last one to do it. Another was midday to let me know he saw a dark man dropping stuff off behind my house. It was my lunch from Uber Eats. So racist. First strike. Today I had a few Amazon packages coming. Nothing expensive, just some garden stuff. I was going to the grocery store, saw they were there, and made a note to grab them when I got back. I got to the grocery store and got a Ring notification on my phone at my front door. My friend was coming over, so I opened the app to let him in, but it was just a motion detection, not a ring. I opened the video and it's the retired cop neighbor standing staring at the 2 small packages at my door, looking mad. He stands there looking around for a few seconds, walks up to my door, knocks, just 1 round of 5 pounds on my door. He then walks to the side of my house, sees my car is gone, and comes back and grabs my packages. I was hoping he'd put them inside my screen door, but he just starts walking to his house off camera. I left my cart, apologized to a grocery store employee, and drove straight to his house. I didn't say anything, just did the cop knock on his door. He asked, "What's the commotion about?" and then started making excuses that he was helping me out when I showed him the video. I told him if he wants to help, he can just put them in my screen door, but it's not his problem. He said he was teaching me a lesson about stealing. Buddy, I lived in the hood for years. I've had so many packages stolen in the time it took me to get down 2 flights from my apartment. I'm not worried about it here. I caught myself because I don't want a problem. I don't trust cops to not use their position, even retired. I'm not looking for advice on what to do, and I'm definitely not calling the cops. I bought the house recently, so I'm not moving. Just wanted to vent. Anyway, friends, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. As always, I really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more Reddit content like this. So take care, and I'll see you next time.